I spoke about my paranoia in one other video, but it was more like a short story and less like actual speaking on it. So I thought I'd just do another video talking about it. So I'm just going to give the definition of what paranoia is based on the Mental Health of America's website. So they describe paranoia as paranoia involves intense, anxious, or fearful feelings and thoughts, often related to persecution, threat, or conspiracy. Paranoia occurs in many mental disorders, but is most often present in psychotic disorders. Paranoia can become delusions when irrational thoughts and beliefs become so fixated that nothing, including contrary evidence, can convince the person that what they think or feel is not true. When a person has paranoia or delusions, but no other symptoms like hearing or seeing things that aren't there, they might have what is called a delusional disorder. Because only thoughts are impacted, a person with delusional disorder can usually work and function in everyday life. However, their lives may be limited and isolated. So my paranoia manifests itself more on the paranormal side of the spectrum. And I'm just going to speak very candidly about all my feelings on this. So, I've had paranoia for as long as I can remember. I was always a very scared child. Whether it was from my paranoia or my anxiety, I just remember being very scared majority of my childhood. I would get such anxiety about the sun setting. Like, I can still remember the dread I would feel when I would start to see the sunset when I was younger. And I think I even told a couple of people, I'm like, that's like the worst part of the day. Man, I hate this time of the day when the sun would start to set. And it's not until I got older that I realized why I hated when the sun would start to set. And that's because, obviously, once the sun set, then it would be dark after that. And even though my paranoia can manifest itself in the morning and night, it's really more prominent at night. So immediately when it starts to get dark, I would already start to have these feelings. And when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about my childhood. I'm talking about, well, this is stuff that would happen in my childhood, but this is stuff that still happens now to this day. So while I call them feelings, I guess they're more feelings and also like intrusive thoughts. So the type of things that I think of is like, I'll be sitting up in my bed and I'll suddenly look up. And these intrusive thoughts, these are like the images that I start to feel or start to see in my mind, these intrusive thoughts. So I would see myself sitting in bed and I would look up and someone would be at the end of the bed, or I would be laying down, not asleep yet, but maybe my eyes will be closed and I'd be facing the wall. And then I would roll over onto the other side so that way I'm facing outward into the room and someone would just be standing there where I flipped over at. Maybe not standing, but like maybe their head is level with my head, so they're possibly sitting. That's the type of things I would think of. I remember when I was younger, I used to say, a lot of children are scared of under the bed, but they think that a monster's under the bed. And while I did think that, it was more like, because I had a lot of stuff under my bed when I was younger that was like storage space, and my mother would always say, there's no room under there. Like, if anything's under there, they can't get you. There's no room under there. And I'm like, it's not like they're taking you actually under the bed. You don't go under the bed when something takes you. You go into the darkness. And this is possibly a different realm. I'm probably going to sound crazy, but that's all okay. So these other things that I see, these intrusive thoughts, are like maybe I'd walk past the kitchen at night and the light is off and I'd see a shadow sitting on top of the counter and it would disappear when I cut the light on. Or I'd walk by the staircase and there'd be something down there crouching in the corner. Or walking around late at night and seeing tall men across the street. And when I say tall, I don't mean like 6 whatever. I mean like the tall men, if you know what I'm talking about. Or I think about opening my patio door blinds, like wheeling them open and then someone standing there, or opening a window and seeing the smiling man there. So when I get these intrusive thoughts, these feel real. They feel like actual events that have happened or that could happen or that will happen at some point. They don't feel like random thoughts and you're like, oh, that was creepy, and then keep moving on. Like these intrusive thoughts are very intense. So when I have these intrusive thoughts, most of the time I can't go to sleep. I usually just stay awake with the light on until I'm too tired to stay awake anymore, and then I end up going to bed. Just heard something. Hold on. What the heck is that noise? See, I just looked down the hallway into my bathroom and it's kind of dark down there. And another one of the thoughts that I get is I'll look down there into the dark bathroom after I hear noise and I'll see a hand coming from behind the door. Like those type of thoughts. And that just happened. So, lovely. So one of the things that actually makes these thoughts worse is watching scary movies or looking up lore and things like that, maybe conspiracy theories. And the worst part is I love to look up things like that. I love to look up lore. I love to look up conspiracy theories. I can't help myself. I love to look up stuff like that. And I love scary movies. So as an alternative, I've started watching these short scary films that I can find here on YouTube. And I thought that'd make it better, but it does not. I mean, it's better than watching a full-length scary movie. And I'm still going to do it either way just because I love them so much. And whether I watch them or not, these thoughts are still going to be there. So might as well do it if I like it, right? So the last thing I want to talk about is what actually scares me the most about these paranoid feelings or these intrusive thoughts is that while it's always there, it's not always as present. Like there's some days where it's a lot more present than other days. And that scares me because what is the reason for it being more present on these days? It makes me wonder, is there a reason why I'm more scared these days? Maybe I have a reason to be afraid.